Today is September 4th. It's Friday of Labor Day weekend, and I start meetings again next week, but we don't start classes until September 14th. And so here comes the big harvester again. So I had a pacemaker implanted 7 months ago in the middle of February, and I was post-operative, and then basically at the time when I really should have started playing again, the pandemic hit, and our winter semester, January through April, we had to finish online, and then we rolled straight into spring semester, which is full 14-week semester, which was done entirely online. And so with the pandemic and the change to the mode for teaching, I just played less and less and less. But I saw every time I played, like, I really felt terrible. So we got to the end of our spring semester, which is the end of July, and I was actually working on a virtual project with my Ladies Quintessential Quintet, and I had to play 5 movements standing, and it was horrible. I mean, it was a nightmare. And I just, at that point, was so exhausted physically and mentally that I just thought, I just need to walk away from this. So that was the very end of July, and then I did not touch my bassoon basically until yesterday. I pulled my bassoon out, I pulled out reeds. I wanted to see where I was at with my reeds. I've also done 0 reed making. I did no remaking at all. But I also will say that I work reeds in huge batches, so I actually have tons and tons of reeds saved up, so I'm not worried about that at all. But so here I am. I'm 7 months post pacemaker implant, and I have not touched my instrument basically in about 5 weeks. And I thought this would be a really good process to document. So the challenges you're seeing are, one, just having taken a break, a very normal break that a lot of people do, but also coming back from an injury. So any kind of surgery, this might be of interest to you, because surgeries always tend to have some kind of like cardiopulmonary or cardiorespiratory impact. And as you watch me go through this process, I hope that my vulnerability and just basically kind of sounding like trash will help you feel good about coming back or starting over or starting whatever it is, whether you're starting a new school year or you're coming back from an injury or just from a self-imposed break, just whatever. Or if you're just in the business of, maintenance. So that is my goal in doing this. I'm just going to try to record as much of my sessions as possible. Once school starts, I probably won't be able to edit these quite as highly, but I still just am going to document and share this process. They're plowing the field behind my house. There's a ginormous machine that you're hearing. That was a good reminder. The first time I started, it was flat, and then it was sharp, and then it was right on. And hopefully, it'll be interesting to see. You can see I changed my embouchure each time until I found that kind of perfect setting for it. Oops. Woohoo, I made 16 beats finally. I'm hearing the pitch inconsistencies in my top octave, and obviously I haven't played in a long time, and so I know obviously I'm probably clamping down in my embouchure and driving my pitch up when I go up. So I want to make sure I stop myself, check the pitch, so I can demand the correct pitch for myself. It's closer. So right now my head is pounding. So let's talk about full range. You should always do full range, all the way to the top, all the way down to the bottom and around. I've been inconsistent as you've been watching this. But especially if you have the keys, Lori Wyke was adamant that if the key is on your instrument, it's got to be included in your scales. So if you have a high F key, you have to play up to a high F. Now I always tell my students, leave your metronome on, and if you have to switch over to half speed, somewhere towards the top so that you can focus on your fingerings, that's great. That's fine as long as you go all the way up. I also tell my students there's kind of a hierarchy to learning these things. Focus first on just getting your fingers to the right place. If the note doesn't speak or if it's out of tune, don't worry about that. Just get your fingers moving to the right place first, and then we can work on response, and then we can work on intonation, but get your fingers there. So let me try that again. I also know I'm not going to be able to articulate that high F, so you're definitely hearing me go for it with a slur, and that's fine too. Again, it's a hierarchy. Like, get your fingers there, and you know, it's not always going to be perfect, but don't not do it because one aspect of it is not going the way you want it to go. So my pitch is floating really, really sharp. Okay, so now I'm going to do this single tonguing exercise by Frank Morelli. If you've studied with Frank Morelli, I'm sure you're familiar with it, or if you've studied with any of his students, I'm sure you've encountered it. It got passed to me not from Frank Morelli, but from someone who had studied with Frank Morelli. So, I don't know, we probably shouldn't pass these things around, but it's an awesome, awesome exercise. It's not super complicated. You definitely want to do it throughout your entire range because, of course, we know that all notes speak differently as we work to establish a fast single tongue. So limit your time in doing this. It's not like a do every note as fast as you can. It's a, you know, set a timer and do it for, 10 minutes. So on to the single tonguing study. So something I notice, of course, is my pitch is changing with each note. So watch for that. lot of embouchure, just all these things are very common for a young player, an inexperienced player, and then of course a professional who hasn't played for a hot second. So it's interesting too how much I've noticed how much more still my embouchure has become. I think when I started I was like, I mean, just lots and lots of movement. And then of course, if you're going to play faster, you have to minimize movement. You want things to move quickly but not far. So let me crank this up a bit here. And then you can, if you ever get your hands on this, you can extrapolate the pattern and keep going and keep going. And then I like to pick a note and then do that note in every octave. And so I have markings on my piece of paper, so I know like my upper limit, and like right now I'm at 110. My upper limit for this exercise is 160. Not on every note though. So I'm going to keep working on this, but I'm not going to make you watch me go through all this, but I'll spend about 10 minutes on this. Okay, so I've done my chromatic warm-up, my long tones, all of my scales, my single tonguing study. Now, thirds and fourth, I'm just going to slur these and do these with a metronome. Again, I am not doing anything for speed right now. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I just want things to be clean. Wow, so many things in there. Ooh, so many pitch issues. Let's just do that again. And bad technique, not clean. You can hear the notes between the notes. So, things I'm listening for. One, what key am I playing in and can I remember the notes? Two, technique issues. So is it clean transitions between notes? It's obviously not. Just overall pitch. Am I in tune with myself? Consistency of tone between all registers of the instrument. There's so much in thirds. There's just so much in thirds. So, and then the question is, do I redo what I just did? Because I actually have done that several times, but my camera turned off. I'm going to go on because it was better. It did improve since the first run that you didn't hear on here. I'm going to keep moving through my keys here. Okay, so I finished my thirds. It was pretty rough. I need to do my fourths. But honestly, I think I'm going to stop here or else take a really long break because my head is pounding. I just don't feel great. So, and my embouchure is like, nothing good is going to come from this at this point. I'm just going to reinforce / create new and bad habits. So sometimes you just have to walk away. But let's review what I did do. I got my long tones in. I got my chromatic tuning. I always start with the chromatic tuning. That's the thing I did at the very beginning where I literally just tune every note to see where it's at and if I have to make reed adjustments. Got all my just straight and down scales in. I didn't do full range Hertzberg though. I did the single tonguing exercise and I did my scales tonguing because I need to get my tongue back in shape. And then I moved into my thirds, but I haven't done my fourths. So it was productive, and let's celebrate that I played today and that I'm going to start this process of getting back into shape. And it's always exciting to know that there's a lot to fix. And actually, it's funny, you know, when you take time off, I feel like the stress of time away from your instrument, it kind of gnaws at you and you're like, oh, I need to do this and it's going to sound terrible, right? But I find there is a lot of catharsis when I do play, even if it's not great, because for me, I love to create that list of here are things that I can improve upon, here are things I can do better. So for me, this actually feels really good, not because I'm like, oh my gosh, everything sounds like trash. Instead, I'm like, wow, there's so many things to fix and to look forward to fixing because I know I can fix them. And so this is actually very motivating to me, even though I don't feel great and I don't sound great. I see this like immediate list and this path and this process for moving forward. So here begins the journey, my friends.